Hooray! Good news for once, guys. Netflix has been indicted by a grand jury. Matt Schaefer tweeted, Netflix Incorporated indicted by a grand jury in Tyler County, Texas, for promoting material in Cuties film which depicts lewd exhibition of pubic area of a clothed or partially clothed child who is younger than 18 years of age, which appeals to the prurient interest in sex. Fucking great. Well, the actual charge is PC 43.262, promotion of lewd visual material depicting a child. And that obviously is an accurate description of this disgusting film. Well, you know, I had mentioned how IMDb had their warnings about it, and here it is right here. It pretty much says female breast nudity of a minor during an erotic dance scene and lengthy and excessive close-up shots of breast, bums, and spread crotches of scantily clad 11-year-old girls doing numerous sexualized dance routines. Wow. Hey guys, anybody remember this?
The film is against sexualizing young kids.
Now I want to talk about the hypocrisy, because that's the most important part of all of this.
The hypocrisy. Yeah, the hypocrisy is the most important part of all this. No, I don't know. I don't know about that. I think maybe I would put like up top, like the CP. And then down below that, like the exploitation, maybe down below that, the pedo bait. And then like way down, way down at the bottom, the hypocrisy would be down there somewhere. Maybe.
What are you, retarded?
Well, the last time I covered that whole Cuties thing, I got so riled up about it, I wound up taking a couple of weeks off of YouTube. But we're going to talk about another indictment, and this one is in my home state of Missouri. And I actually know a lot about Missouri gun law, and I'm going to share some stuff with you guys about this.
New charges tonight against the Central West End couple accused of pointing guns at protesters over the summer. This as they railed against city officials today, saying the government is persecuting them.
Well, maybe not so much the government as much as Kim Gardner. Now, Kim Gardner is a Soros plant prosecutor. Now, this is not even a conspiracy theory. Soros spent tons and tons of money putting prosecutors in all these cities so that he can do things like, arrest the McCloskys, who did nothing illegal, and release the people who actually were involved in breaking and entering when they got those guns pointed at them. They've all been released. They charged like 9 people, but then Kim Gardner threw it all out. Now, also, Kim Gardner is the reason that Eric Greitens is no longer our governor in the state of Missouri. Now, he was a great governor, and he's the governor that the people wanted and the people elected. But then Kim Gardner brought up frivolous lawsuit after frivolous lawsuit after frivolous lawsuit, and all kinds of adultery stuff about him, and went after his family and just nonstop, and just told him, I'll drop all the charges if you resign from office. And some of our Missouri Republicans really let me down on that, which Republicans let me down all the fucking time. But they bent right over for Kim Gardner and said, yeah, Greitens, you should step down. Well, now it's come out, all those charges were bullshit. Duh, that she brought against Greitens, and now she's doing the same kind of thing to these McCloskys. And I'll tell you a little bit more here in a second.
News 4's Lauren Traeger was in the courtroom today and was the first to break the news of the charges.
Well, this is certainly a big development. A grand jury, of course, can always choose not to indict someone, but the grand jury here in this case chose to indict and also add additional charges. The defense attorney, though, in the case says that's not surprising. He believes the grand jury simply did not have all of the facts. In fact, News 4 has learned that the lead investigator for the police that's been investigating this case was never called to testify before the grand jury.
Funny enough that our attorney general, I thought he had this case thrown out, but I guess he didn't. Evidence that came out 2 months ago that Kim Gardner had tampered with evidence, that she had them tamper with evidence, that Jimenez pistol that woman was holding, which why would a lawyer have $100 piece of shit 22 pistol like that is beyond me. But anyway, apparently that was non-operational. And they actually tampered with it and made it operational. And this came out like 2 months ago. Now, you want to know what the additional charge is that they charged with the McCloskys? Tampering with evidence. It's just like, I didn't do it. You did. I'm rubber, you're glue.
In this case, I believe once all the facts are out, it will be clear that neither McCloskys committed any crime whatsoever.
Defense attorney Joel Schwartz says he's not surprised that Mark and Patricia McCloskey have been indicted.
Frankly, because the grand jury is not an adversarial process, defense counsel are not allowed in there, and I have no idea whatsoever what was stated to the grand jury and what law was given to the grand jury.
The McCloskeys had previously been charged with felony counts of exhibiting weapons for pointing guns at protesters outside their Central West End home. They have long maintained they were protecting themselves and their property from people hurling threats. But the grand jury also added a count for each of them. Tampering. This, we're told, stems from the pistol held by Patricia McCloskey and later turned over to police by attorney Al Watkins. The gun, Watkins maintains, had been rendered inoperable, but a report obtained by News 4 from the St. Louis Police Crime Lab showed that a prosecutor had instructed the examiners to reassemble it correctly.
So basically what Kim Gardner is claiming here is that before that gun reached evidence, the McCloskys had tampered with it. Well, they had no reason to believe that they would ever be charged. So even if they had tampered with it, it wouldn't matter because it was their property, and then the cops just showed up and seized it. By the way, the police seized it illegally. And also, you know, it really doesn't matter if the gun was operational or not. That does not matter one bit, and I'll tell you why in a second.
All of which could be an issue in the ongoing case.
Every single human being who was in front of my house was a criminal trespasser. They broke down our gate, they trespassed on our property. Not a single one of those people is now charged with anything.
Fired up on the courthouse steps earlier Tuesday, Mark McCloskey railed against city officials, saying it was frightening that they were charged, while last week city officials declined to file any charges against protesters on citations for trespassing.
What you're witnessing here in this case is just an opportunity for the government, the leftist, Democrat government of the city of St. Louis to persecute us for doing no more than exercising our Second Amendment rights.
You know, this guy's not wrong. That's exactly what this is. Now, to explain why it doesn't matter if the gun was operational, it doesn't matter any of that, none of that even matters. I'll explain that. Missouri has the strongest castle law in the United States. I would suggest that you never go a trespassing in the great state of Missouri, because castle law extends to the end of your property, to the edge of your property. There is no duty to retreat, okay? And all you have to do in order to use lethal force is feel threatened. Now, the normal standard is fear for your life, but not in the state of Missouri. If you're on your own property and someone is trespassing, all you have to do is feel threatened in order to shoot them. So, in all honesty, if the McCloskys had started firing off rounds at these people, they probably still would have been within their rights. So, that's fine. You know, there's an old saying, you can indict a ham sandwich. I'm really hoping that the Cuties indictment, I mean, it looks like legally it has a leg to stand on. And the McCloskey indictment looks like it legally does not. And the leftists are making it very obvious that they do not believe in equal application of the law. They can do what they want. You can't do, you know, you can't defend yourself. They can break into your house. You can't defend yourself. They can burn your business down. You can't defend yourself. They can hit you in the head with a skateboard. You can't defend yourself. This is becoming very, very obvious. Now, they haven't been very successful with these cases. There was another one in Las Vegas, or not Las Vegas, but like New Mexico, where that guy had shot a couple of guys that were beating him with skateboards. They tried to do the same shit to him, but that got thrown out. I'm hoping this will be thrown out. Basically, you know, we have biased media, we have biased journalism, we have biased everything, but we really have to be careful when it comes to biased justice and political prosecutions. This is a very dangerous ledge here. This is where we must draw the line. So these guys are rich as fuck. I'm not going to tell you to like send them money or anything. These are a bunch of uppity Democrat lawyers from St. Louis. You know, he can sit there and talk about leftists and Democrats all he wants, but these guys are Democrat donors from back in the day. Maybe they're newfound right-wingers now that they're getting bent over and shafted so hard. And it just looks like we have political cases going on all over the place and almost all against the right, and it has a lot to do with all the Soros plant prosecutors put all over the country. And so we have this case here, then we have the case with Rittenhouse. And I wouldn't think that Netflix case is actually a political case unless, being against CP really is only a right-wing thing, which as much as I don't really like the left or even hate like actual leftists, it's still really, really sad if their politics are now pro-CP. I'm really hoping that that's not actually a political case. But I'm going to tell you a good place where you can go to follow all these political cases and the news in them, and that is this YouTube channel called R&R Law Group. Now, it is funny that I'm often promoting channels that are much larger than mine, but really, this isn't about my own personal channel growth. It's more about the message. Like I said before, I don't think Google or YouTube, rather, is ever going to cut me a check for anything. So, I mean, the best I can hope for is maybe someday I'll sell some Don't Be a Fucking Commie t-shirts or something like that. But really, this isn't a money thing. This is something I do because I feel it's important. So check out this R&R guy. He's a libertarian, and he is for criminal justice reform, and he does call out bad cops when he sees them. But he also will tell you straight up that no, this is a justified shooting and things like that. And his analysis is very impartial and very with the law, and he's very good to go to for legal analysis. And he does a lot of live streams and then puts up clips of the different cases that he's talking about, in case you're not interested in hearing about the nuances of Breonna Taylor case or whatever else. But he does cover that fairly as well. In my opinion, the guy covers everything pretty fair. So it's a good spot for legal analysis if you guys want to check him out. This has been DWB. Thanks for watching. And remember, don't be a fucking commie.